Before we jump into this next video, if you'd like to have a guide on how to invest in property called the 7 Laws of a Property Investor, incredible laws, then in the description area you're going to find a link. Click on that and then order your guide. This guide, the 7 Laws of a Property Investor, I promise you will save you a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of money, and in the process make you a lot of money. It's done so for myself over the last 40 years, as well as for my students. So all you have to do is to fill in that little form that you'll find, and I'll send that guide to you free of charge. If you're new to this channel, I'm Dreyer. I'm the founder of the Wealth Creators Method, where we help entrepreneurs and investors to create, to grow, and to protect their wealth by basically applying the 4 high-value skill sets. Now, in this series, we are busy with the 7 laws of a property investor, and today we're going to look at the 4th law. And the 4th law basically says, always buy from a motivated seller. Now, this may sound easy, but it's not always that easy. Most people are going to work with and through estate agents. The estate agent is there to protect the seller. That is who's going to pay them at the end of the day. So they're going to do everything in their power to keep you away from the seller, as well as to get the best possible price. Now, there's no ways that you'll be able to structure a deal unless you know if this is a motivated seller or not. And it's in structuring the deal that the real money will be. Now, perhaps let me take you through one of the transactions that I had to give you the power of this 4th law and why this 4th law is so important. Way back, I took on a challenge, and the challenge was to make an investment of less than R1. The total challenge was actually 79 cents. And then to get into the property game. Maybe let me tell you a little bit more about this challenge, because I said that I could not use any of my own security, in other words, or my existing portfolio. I could not go to the bank to ask them for money. I could not get a friend to back me, or venture capitalist or so forth. So I really had to do it by relying on the 4 high value skill sets. So in the 5th week, I actually bought the first property. Now, as you can imagine, there's no ways that you can go to the bank and say, listen, I've got no financials, I started the business like 5 weeks ago, I've got no other income, please give me a bond. They're going to simply refuse you. And this is one of the problems that I see that a lot of my students, or people that are not even students, runs into, because their mindset tells them, listen, it is simply impossible. You have to make use of the bank. And of course, in the Property Pro mentoring, we're showing you that that is not the truth. It is just an idea that the banks want you to know and to think that it should be. But that was the situation that I was in, and I've bought my first property. But the deal of that property was that I found a motivated seller. Now, there are different ways. I'm not going to get into that. In the PDF, you're going to find the 7 laws of a property investor. When you come to law 4, I'm going to tell you where and how to find those motivated sellers. But I got to this couple, and after I started talking to them, I asked them simply, why do they want to sell? And what do they want to do with the money? So they told me that this property, they were elderly, and this property was starting to cost them money, and they needed income. They had no income. So I think that you can see the previous lesson was about income is more important than capital. And for that reason, also, they could move in with their children. There was a granny flat waiting for them. And if they could sell the property, they needed about 60 or 70,000 Rand for a small upgrade in terms of their vehicle. And that was basically the cash that they needed, but they wanted the income. So I asked them simply, and I said, if I can structure a deal and I can make it more worthwhile than to go to the bank, if they would be open to listen to me, and we can conclude that transaction literally within the next couple of days, which they were, because they were motivated, right? Because at the end of the month, they had to pay for the gardener, and they had to pay the electricity, and they had to pay the rates and taxes and all of that goes with it. So they were seriously motivated. And I bought that property without going to the bank and without applying for a bond, without any other person involved, simply because they were motivated sellers. Now, if you'd like to know more about this, I suggest that you join the next masterclass called the Property Accelerator Masterclass, where I'm going to get into property and why property, to me at least, I call it my security blanket. So whenever I start a challenge or whenever I start an investment, you always find that property is going to be the anchor in terms of my portfolio. By the way, there are ways by following the Wealth Creators method that you'll never have to pay any taxes out of your own pocket. You can make a lot of money, and there are ways that we can use and structure properties in order to be able to do that. And just by doing that, just that one thing will accelerate the growth that you're going to get on your property. Plus, you sit with that money. And that is actually how I started that challenge for it was 79 cents. So if you're interested, I know a lot of people are going to say nonsense, it is not possible, it can't be done. And I'll prove to you in the masterclass that I've actually done it, and there's audited statements and it's on the internet and stuff like that. So before you say it's impossible, just give yourself permission to listen to this webinar and to go through the 7 laws of a property investor in terms of the PDF. You're going to find a lot of value in that, and I really hope that it's going to help you. Now, because of that challenge, the end result of the challenge was 2 years and 3 months later, I've got an audit stating that I've turned the 79 cents, literally, by applying the 4 high-value skills in terms of the Wealth Creators method into more than 10 million. And I think that you'll agree with me, anyone that has got the skills to be able to do that, there's no reason for them to panic whatever happens with the economy in South Africa or anywhere in the world. I'm also, at the moment, if you're not aware of it, I've taken on a $6.52 challenge. That is 100 Rand here in South Africa. And I'm following exactly the same principles. This time it's not going to be 79 cents. We structured a deal for 100 Rand. The 100 Rand, there was a reverse engineering that happened within the first week. That money at the moment, as I'm shooting this, we're about almost 7 months into it. We've got more than 2.5 million Rand already within that portfolio. Now, a portion of that is allocated in cryptos. The crypto market is down seriously, but the core of this is going to be the property. And for that reason, please come and make sure that you either listen to the 500K challenge or the Property Accelerator Masterclass. I'm going to give you a link to the Property Masterclass in the event that you'd like to find out more and in the process perhaps change your life forever. If this is something that interests you, please make sure to follow this. If you haven't done so already, give me a like and then also subscribe. Click that bell icon so that you'll be the first to be notified the moment that I bring out a lesson like this. And by the way, in terms of the Wealth Creators method, we do this basically on a week-to-week basis. And I'm sure that you do not want to miss any one of these episodes. So thank you so much for your time. I'm Dreyer, and I'll see you then in the next one.